Good morning, afternoon, good evening. Les Waller here with Marine Helping Veterans. Today I want to talk about how to prepare for losing your job. Anybody that's been around for a little while has maybe lost their job, or they've moved jobs, or they've had the fear of losing their job. So I want to discuss things. So let me give you a little background on me first. You can see here we have a webpage, marinehelpingveterans.com. Subscribe to my channel so you can see more opportunities to work from home and become financially independent. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps. It was a small field, so I didn't have to worry too much about re-enlistment time. Matter of fact, almost every time I re-enlisted, I was eligible for a bonus. Needless to say, I took the bonus, re-enlisted, and next thing you know, it's 3 years from retirement. I'm at 17 years, 1997, as an E6. Well, that tells me, that retirement is not going to be a lot. At that time, it was like 50%. So anyway, I was finishing up recruiting duty in 1997, got my orders, and they were my final orders because they basically stated that if you don't get promoted in the next 3 years, you need to put in for retirement. So I'm like, okay, I guess we need to do something about that. So we went to, our last duty station was in Okinawa, Japan. So we were overseas at the time. And I did finish up. I looked at all my credits because I had all these credits through all these different universities and stuff like that. And so I put it all together, submitted a package to Roosevelt University, and I have got my bachelor's in computer science in 1998. I started working on a master's because I figured in the workforce I'm going to need something better than just a bachelor's. Everybody's got a bachelor's at that time, right? Finished the courses, but I never took the comprehensive. I only had my bachelor's. Now, one of the things I did see during my time in the Marine Corps is that most people that came to retirement literally worked until they retired. In other words, there was very little time was given to prepare for retirement or to do anything to help them get ready for a retirement. I mean, they literally did their job until they took terminal leave and were no longer working. I mean, I guess that's the way it is. I mean, but it just seems so funny to me because you put in 20 years into the Marine Corps or your Army, Navy, Air Force. The preparation they have for you is, go take these classes on how to prepare your resume and do this and do that. But I mean, is there really any preparation for finding a new job while you're there? I mean, they knew you were getting out. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. You put in for retirement months in advance. So it's not like you're given 2-week notice. I mean, literally, you're putting in for retirement months in advance because there's all these things all this paperwork and all this stuff that has to be done before you can retire. I'm in Okinawa, Japan, and I was a linguist. I speak Chinese Mandarin. Ni hao! I speak Korean, annyeonghaseyo, and I even speak a little Japanese. O genki desu ka? But so my friend and I, we go to Korea and we take a language training program there. And of course, it's like 3 months long, and you're studying, and you're going to school and you're studying, you're going to school and you're studying. Well, at that time, about that time or a little before that time, also the Marine Corps switched their exercise program from, you used to be able to do kips when you're doing pull-ups, you could actually move the body and stuff like that to make it easier to go up and get a little flow going like this, Well, then they changed it to dead hang pull-ups, and if your upper body strength wasn't too good and you didn't do anything for 3 months, your muscles are going to atrophy. So if you were able to do 8 or 9 dead hang pull-ups, and then 3 months later you try to do a pull-up, it's going to be tough, to say the least. And you have to, the minimum's 3. So anyway, we come back from our language training, and right away we're told you need to go over to that unit. You're going to support them. And as soon as we get there, right away they said, you need to take a physical fitness test. But no buts. Everybody's taking a physical fitness test. It's like tomorrow, you know. No preparation whatsoever. No ifs, ands, or buts. Taking it. As a Marine, you're supposed to be ready at any time to be able to take a physical fitness test. I understand that. But look at the circumstances. Anyway, so needless to say, my friend and I both take the physical fitness test, and we fail. And we were literally fired from working at that unit, sent back to our original unit, where we got papers written on us that showing, poor performance or whatever. So literally we were fired. I mean, obviously we still had a job as Marines. That doesn't change. But when you go, you're assigned somewhere and they say, you're out of here. Oh, yeah, that's bad. So now it's like they're out to get you. Oh, you screwed up, so we're going to get you. And you're just trying to do everything you can. And both of us were able to, oh, by the way, both of us were able to pass the physical fitness test like within less than 2 weeks. So they didn't even give us a second chance, So anyway, that was a blessing in disguise. Best thing that could have happened to me, believe it or not. So I got assigned to another unit down the farther south down the island, which is a good thing. Someone was looking out for me. They says, oh, we need to get you out of the unit because they're just after you. They're just looking for anything to get after you, And so I got assigned down the island, down at Camp Courtney. And great place, great organization, great people. Didn't judge me, didn't ask, why you came down. I mean, they just needed somebody, and I was replacing somebody else as far as they were concerned. That was it. And we did a force protection exercise, and I was one of the orchestrators of this exercise, if you will. And the exercise did really well, and they were very satisfied. It's actually an island-wide exercise. And the major calls me into the office after the exercise is over, and he says, Staff Sergeant Waller, you got about 3 months until you retire. I want you to call in every day. Just let us know you're alive. You do what you need to do for retirement. That's the kindest thing anybody's ever done for me in the Marine Corps. Never forget that. So anyway, I worked my ass off for the next 3 months. I got my Microsoft Certified Engineer plus Internet. I got my A+, CompTIA A+ certification during that time. We're talking like 7 certification tests in 3 months. And if you ask anybody that does anything about Microsoft, that is a lot, especially when you don't have the software. I'm doing exam crams, I'm doing CDs, I'm doing practice tests, I'm reading the books, I'm doing flashcards. Oh my God. But tell you what, that helped enormously. So it's getting close to that time, but most people won't even talk to you about a job until you're like within a couple weeks or at the most maybe a month out, because they don't have any positions open. Or I don't know, it's just the way the business is. So I called this person in Korea, and they're like, well, we got this part-time job. But at that time, my daughter was in school, and if I took a part-time job, we would get no money for housing. It would come out of our pocket. So I'm like, well, that doesn't sound good. But one of the guys that I worked with was a contractor, knew the guy, worked for the guy before. He says, hey, Les, let me talk to him. Then you call him back in the afternoon again. Thanks, Bobby. So I did. I called him back in the afternoon. Oh, I got a full-time position as a tech support, like help desk. We need someone to run our web server. I'm on it. Networking. Networking is extremely important when you're looking for a job. If it wasn't been for Bobby putting in a word for me, I would have been out of a job. So networking is important. You got to talk to people, build rapport with people, be good to people, and they'll be good to you. So we got the job in Korea. Now, one of the things to think about too now, so having this degree, having a bachelor's degree in computer science, having the MCSE plus internet, having the A plus certification, those were good, but you saw that they weren't enough, right? But they opened the door. So if you're out there and you don't have a certification and you're working in some field and you're thinking that you might lose your job or something, get the certification. Certification plus experience will get you the job. I had no experience. I had the certification, but then with networking, that helped get the job. So we moved over to Korea after we retired. And yeah, as you can see here, I got promoted, and there again, networking. Networking. Someone says, "Hey, there's this position open. Why don't you talk to the tech manager and see if he'd let you take that position?" There again, if I would have never asked for it, I would have never got it. And so I moved up. I ended up with, I had worked with one guy. We're working VAX VMS. My God. But I was willing to learn. I was willing to do whatever they needed to get done. And then after that, some personnel changes and stuff like that. Then I got it to become chief of systems and operations. I ended up with like 13, 14 people working for me. And some things were coming out at that time. Now we're talking, we're talking 2005, 2006 time frame. I'm reading the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall is saying, you need to have these information assurance certificates. It's coming down the road. The military, the government is going to make it a requirement. If you're in this position, you have to have this certification. CISSP. So yeah, I got my CCNA, my Cisco Certified Network Associate certification. I got my Network Plus. Then I got my CISSP. And that was the one where the writing was on the wall. That CISSP is huge. Very difficult test to take, very expensive test to take. A lot of people fail the first time. So I wasn't sitting on my laurels, even though I was gaining experience and stuff like that, working in different departments within the organization, getting to know more people. I was not sitting on my laurels. I was getting the certifications and the training to go along with the experience that I had. I was not satisfied, of course, of not finishing my master's degree in international relations. And I saw that University of Maryland had a MBA program, a 2-year MBA program online. So I decided to go for that. I went for it, gave up everything, all my social life completely. And 2 years later, I got my MBA. One of the things that came with this job was a requirement that if you, let's say, what's the normal hours you're working in? Normally you're working, maybe 1,800 hours a year or something like that, whatever the man hours are for a year. I forgot what it is. But anyway, written into our contract was to do like 200 to 300 hours over that. So we weren't paid by the hour. We got our check every 2 weeks. We definitely weren't paid by the hour, which is really interesting. And the overtime was the only time we got paid overtime is if we worked on a federal holiday, we'd get time and a half. But other than that, if we worked a 60-hour week, we got paid for 40 hours. Did that for 9 years. There was a change in the contract, a big cut in the pay as far as housing goes. And I'm like, and before that, the boss was like, oh yeah, if the government changes how much you get in housing, well then we'll make up for it in salary. Not. So I was a little disappointed. Actually, I was a lot disappointed. And when I heard that, something inside me clicked. I'd already been working there. So at that point, I'd been working there about 8, almost 9 years working. I mean, it's back-to-back exercise. We're talking 12-hour days for 2 weeks. Okay, we're not just talking like overtime here and there. When we would go overtime, we would go 12-hour days for 2 weeks, maybe get a day or two off, and then we're right back at it again. And then another exercise, we're doing 12-hour days for 10 days or whatever, right? Well, you do that for 9 freaking years, you get tired of it. So one of my former employees whispered in my ear and says, hey, there's this job, pays pretty good, 8 to 5, and you get paid overtime, Monday through Friday. Really? I applied for the job. I got it. Great job, very little work, good pay. I was in seventh heaven. Fast forward 18 months. Okay, fast forward like 17 months and 2 weeks. We were a subcontractor, and the contract had been won. The prime got the contract, the sub got the contract. However, I got a phone call. One of the guys that interviewed me originally for hire, of course, now they moved to a different company, but gave me a call and says, hey, Les, have you looked at the schedule? No. Les, you need to look at the schedule. Okay, hold on. My name wasn't on it. And this is a schedule that starts in 2 weeks. The government had decided to drop the position in Korea, Alaska, and Germany. So 3 of us on that contract were going to be without a job in 2 weeks. As I was in with a subcontractor, very, very small company, had nothing for me. So I am scrambling to get a job. Something, anything, because now we're in South Korea, right? So it's not like I've got a huge marketplace to look for jobs. Working for the same organization that I left before as a manager, they had an entry-level position. And a 90-minute commute from the first subway stop to the last subway stop, not counting the time going from the subway stop to where you worked and from the subway stop to my home. 90 minutes. One way. I was not happy. And to top it all off, so I'm working for the organization that I worked before as a manager for 9 years. So my immediate supervisor, we go into the building, and our office was in the same building as where the manager was, right? And so my immediate supervisor is talking to the boss. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. I'll come in the morning and go, how you doing, Kermit? And he sees that, Oh, my goodness. And then one time, he calls us on the phone. He says, hey, I need you to get down to this building and help us move tables. Remember, entry-level position. We're doing crap jobs. And so me and the other guy, we could have drove down there. It wasn't that far, but it's far enough that if you walk, it's going to take a little bit to get there, right? We walked. He wasn't paying us any extra to drive. He wasn't paying for my gas. He didn't provide any transportation to get there. And two can play that game. So, and then when we got there, I called you this time. Why did it take so long to get it? Oh, my God. Oh, thank goodness. I got a call at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah, this is a recruiter for Northrop Grumman, and we've got a network position in Germany. Would you be interested? Where? Where do I sign? But think about it, though. Okay, now we're talking about a network job, which requires a Cisco certification, which I had, a bachelor's degree, which I had. So now we've got the certification and lacking a little bit of experience. But when the opportunity knocks, run to the door. So we did. And we ended up, we're in Germany here now still. It's about 9 years. We've been in Germany 9 years now. Whew. Since coming here, still, Not going to sit on my laurels. Since I came here, I got my PMP, my Project Management Professional Certification. I got a CCMP. I got a CCDP, Cisco Certified Design Professional. I got my ITIL version 4 recently. What else have we done? I think that's about it. But I mean, that's pretty good. Of course, we're keeping those current. I mean, you've always got to do more education and stuff like that to keep those current. But there again, we've gone through several contract phases, and you never know what's going to happen. Is somebody else going to pick up the contract? We don't know, right? But we've been lucky. So let me double check something. Test. Okay. We've been lucky in that we've continued to keep the contract. But here again, coming up in the future here, they're talking about, the government is talking about cutting the contract by 20%. Well, crap. Our contract is service related. It's bodies. Okay, so that means if there are 10 people working, that means they're talking about they're going to cut 2 bodies. Well, we're talking like 80 some people working. Do the math. So am I concerned? No. There's plenty of jobs and positions out there. We are willing to move anywhere we need to work. So that's not a problem. Does it concern me a little bit? Yeah, it concerns me a little bit. But there again, I'm prepared to lose my job. And you just have to be in the contracting world. Yes, I'm going to be 59 in December. And what does that mean? Social Security retirement age is coming up, right? 3 years, I'll be 62. But you know, whether you know it or not, it's more expensive to live. You know, it's supposed to be cheap when you retire. They tell you when you're young, oh yes, when you retire, you don't need as many things, so you don't need the money, you can retire. Yeah, Social Security, not a problem. Bull poo-poo. I saw how my dad lived on Social Security. He was comfortable in Wisconsin, drinking his beer and having a meal or his 3 meals a day. Okay, he was comfortable. Mom, not so much after Dad passed. She ended up living in a low-rent apartment because she couldn't afford it. She had Meals for Wheels or Wheels for Meals delivered to her because she didn't have enough food in the refrigerator. And she had medical bills and stuff like that. They don't prepare you for that. They don't tell you about that. So don't think that Social Security is enough to keep you living comfortably in retirement age. So, and that's coming to what the real emphasis of my talk today is about here, okay? And that is, I am not going to live on Social Security. It's not enough. It's not going to be enough. I know that for a fact. I don't know how long I'm going to live. I don't know how healthy I'm going to be. I also have to take care of my wife and think about that as well, right? And I don't want to work where I'm working. I don't want to do what I'm doing until I'm in my 70s and 80s. And I see people that could draw full Social Security now working in my office, okay? No harm, no foul. If that's what they like to do, okay, I'm okay with that. That's their game. My game is not like that. I want to do something where I can sit in my office just like I am right now and work from my office. And you know what that means? My office could be here. It could be in the Canary Islands. It could be in Florida. It could be in Colorado. It could be in Japan. It could be in Korea. It could be anywhere in the world. As long as I have a minimal network connection, I could work. That's what I'm talking about. That's what this talk is about today. What are you going to do when the ball drops and you're fired? Why not develop a plan now while you still have a full-time job? So that way, instead of them saying, you're fired, you can say, sir, have a good day. I'm out of here. I'm going to be self-employed. That's what I'm working for. So instead of me saying at 62, and that's my goal here, instead of me saying 62, well, I'm going to just draw Social Security. No, I'm going to continue to work, but I'm going to, thanks, boss. I appreciate everything you've done for me for these past years, but I'm going to go work on my own. And as you can see right down here in the bottom of the screen here, this is the way to do it through Wealthy Affiliate. There's a link in the description below. And actually that link is going to take you to my marinehelpingveterans.com webpage. And there I will do a complete review about Wealthy Affiliate and what it is all about. Why don't you join me over there on that page? And we'll continue the conversation there. Because I don't know about you, but my goal is financial independence so I can work from anywhere I want in the world. And I am my own boss. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I just realized I don't need to have my headphones on. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well so you can get more videos on my what? Subscribe to this channel now so that way you can find Jeepers Creepers.